Good evening, it's Patrick O'Leary. I'm editor of FleetWatch Truck magazine. At the moment, there's everyone been getting prepared for this, the national shutdown of South African truck drivers. This poster has been circulating all over the place on social media for some time. Date 7th of July, which is tomorrow. It says powered by Sankatra and ATDF, supported by South African First. So this could have huge impact on the economy and on the trucking industry. Now, over the past few days, FleetWatch has been trying to get more details on this, and there's some interesting things that have come out of here. First of all, take this seriously, and I'll tell you why you should take this seriously and take every precaution you can, because there is no control on this shutdown. Let us start off with ATDF, which is the most well-known one, based on the fact that in the past they have had this sort of image of being very militant. Now, in terms of this one, I've got hold of Sipho Zungu, who is past chairman. He has stepped down as chairman of the ATDF, and in his place we have got Mr. Siyabonga Dlamini. Now, I've spoken to Mr. Siyabonga Dlamini and Mr. Sipho Zungu, and I spoke to them independently, and both put down the same message. This was not sanctioned by the ATDF. They do not know about it. They don't know who called for it. Now, they are very honest in saying it could be some of their members, because they reckon the members are angry because they haven't been able to go back. The leadership hasn't been able to go back to the members with any type of way forward on their demands, which first came to light 2 years ago. I'll just read this to you. Siyabonga Dlamini, we've got no control on this. We've heard rumors from other guys, but we're not sure about it. We are waiting for them to see why they are stopping the trucks. Even now, we have got no feedback from them. So this is the members who are doing it. They don't know which members, they don't know where it comes from and who the people are. Okay, and in terms of, we're all expecting violence, because that's the big fear. Burning trucks and this type of thing seems to be the norm. Now, there are ATDF people going around. There is a message going around where they say, if you're not off the roads at 12 o'clock tonight, they're not even going to roadblock, they're not going to talk, they're going to shoot. So violence is expected. And in terms of the leadership of the ATDF, Mr. Siyabonga Dlamini says that they totally do not condone any violence. They haven't called for the strike, so they're in the dark on it, okay, which makes this crazy. It's really no control. It also makes it very dangerous. And he says that if people burn the trucks, let the police do the job and arrest those people who burn in the trucks. They must arrest them. He has really was very firm on that. The problem that they've got is that it's against foreign drivers. Okay, the employment of foreign drivers as opposed to local drivers, especially now, he says, in this time of COVID, when we are seeing companies fall. And he's saying their call is for foreign drivers to be retrenched first. And that comes from him. Mr. Sipho Zungu, who said the same type of message, okay? He says, the leaders have not called for it. We think it's the drivers who are angry. Now, he spelled this out. He said, as national leaders of the organization, we are not involved at all. Who wrote the poster? People can fake posters, but we do not know about it. He says, he gave an example. He said, when lions are hungry, the problem is you can tame them and you can walk alongside them, but when they're hungry, they will eat anything, including you. And he says the people are angry. That was also endorsed by a number of the people I've spoken to, that the drivers are angry. And again, Sipho Zungu condemned any form of violence. He said they've got no control on it at the moment. They don't even know. I said, what if you wanted to stop it? Can you stop it? No, because they don't know who to address. They don't know who to talk to. We need to know why they chose the 7th. We have questions to ask the person who made the poster. So that's it. But What does he say as well? He says they've been waiting for 2 years. He has stepped down as chairman. He says he stepped down as chairman because after 2 years, they've achieved nothing in terms of their demands and requests to government. He said the government has not reacted at all, so they have not come back, the Department of Home Affairs, Department of Transport, with any plans. No foreign company employing foreign drivers, if they have been investigated, they have not been stopped. It continues. So they have got nothing to give back to their members. And that is why they reckon the members are angry and are now taking things into their own hands. Don't forget, this is not an out of sync occurrence. It happened just last week on Thursday, Friday, last week, with the EMPD. The cops, traffic cops, had certain grievances, and the leader didn't listen until they threatened to close Galulis. So this, unfortunately, is what they're doing. They say that the government doesn't listen unless we make a noise, unless we get violent. Burn tires and that. Please don't get violent out there, guys, if any of the guys out there are listening. But he says, who made it so dangerous now? Because everyone's talking that the government made it dangerous by not getting back to them, and now they have no control on their members. Some of the members look on the leadership as being sellouts. They're sitting having coffee with the government, and they're giving no feedback to the drivers. So they can't control the drivers anymore. So this is an incredibly dangerous situation. There's no control. There's no head office. There's no general here. It's all over the place, and even the generals don't know who's organised it. In terms of their other unions, I looked at SAF, couldn't contact them. They also on this poster. Where's this poster? Now, that's a political party, South African First. Okay? That is South African First there. Couldn't get hold of anyone there, but I did manage to get hold of the chairman of St. Cadra. Now, St. Cadra has been, I said to him, I've never heard of you guys. Where do you suddenly crop up like this? They don't also know who made this poster or who has called the strike, but they've said that SAP approached them and said, would you join us in our efforts? And they don't have a mandate. They haven't called for this. St. Cadra haven't called it. They've allowed their members to stand in solidarity with the call to employ local drivers against foreign drivers. Now, as we know, this is an issue that's been going on for a long time. Since 2018, in Moy River, I was on the scene when they first attacked the trucks. I think 36 trucks were burnt that time. And so it's all about foreign drivers taking local, and especially in the COVID-19 era, they feel that there's going to be a lot of retrenchments, and they want the locals to have it. But they feel that government is not listening to them or getting back to them. So I'm not saying whose fault. The other thing is, a lot of stuff has been circulating on social media. Here is one, for example, where this ATDF bakkie was spotted on the N3. I think it was Friday or Saturday. And on social media, they said they were asking the locals or the drivers whether they had a foreign passport or foreign driver's license or local. Not so. What they were doing was a funding effort. The chairman, when I put this forward to him, I said, why were you stopping guys asking for that? He said, we weren't. He said, that was my secretary, and we were asking for donations. He said, I will send you the list because we took everyone's name. Sent the list. To check it out, I phoned one of these people today, one of these drivers, and he, without hesitation, said, no, they were asking for donations. They didn't even ask for my driver's license. So what I'm saying is that there's two sides to the story, but it's got out of hand now. And yeah, if you look at it, the Mzansi Patriotic Forces has also jumped 7th of July. They are now calling upon all South African citizens to stand and fight against the abnormal influx of illegal foreigners in our country. the 7th. Spark KZN workflow team communicating with each retailer to mitigate any delivery instruction. Safeguard our drivers and assets. Deliveries will be adjusted. So the whole industry is taking it very seriously, and it's causing absolute chaos out there. And what makes it incredibly dangerous is that there's no leadership here. The leadership does not know about it. The leadership say they have not called for this truck. And you know what? I believe them. I believe them. They've been genuine. There's 2 of them, past chairman and current chairman, who have confirmed what they say independently, not knowing that I had spoken to each one of them. And they are saying that government has come back. So my message to government is, when we get through this, I would really advise you, Mr. Government, Department of Home Affairs, Department of Transport, all others involved, to actually sit down and let's get this sorted out. The Road Freight Association, on behalf of its members, I believe the National Bargaining Council for the road freight industry and logistics industry, they applied for an urgent interdict on Friday, and apparently the interdict has been granted. I'm looking for that this afternoon, but I'm still waiting, and we're all still waiting for it to be formally put across in writing so that it can be acted on. Here we are. Application was granted, apparently, and waiting for written ruling. That was today, Monday, 6th of July, 2020, in the High Court of Pretoria. Talk about 1 minute to midnight, and there you have it. My big fear, and I think the reality, is that an interdict is going to make no difference, because it has to be served on the leaders of those who call for it. And in the interdict, it was served on the ATDF, and ATDF leadership can't control it. They have no control. They don't even know who called for this. So it might be their members, might be others. The other problem is that there's mischief makers all over the country, and they will attack the trucks. As we see, there's service protests, delivery protests, all service delivery protests all over the country. They're going to jump on the trucks, and they're going to burn the trucks, and they're going to attack your trucks. And even today, I saw a video with one truck riding along, and he was stopped, and the people in the bakkie said, "What is your truck doing here? Haven't you heard that all trucks must get off the road? Go back to your depot, go back to your nearest place." So they took him off the road there. So it's very, very serious out there. There's been a lot of fake news. One truck was burning this morning near Marion Hill. It wasn't an attack, it was a mechanical fault that set the truck alight. That still happens, so it's not all about truck attacks. The ATDF, this was on a car today in Durban, on a Golf, and they rode through the wrong area. I don't know why they went through that area. It's filled with foreign workers, and they attacked that Golf, turned it on its head. So it's very violent, and we're expecting violence. So my advice to everybody, trying to follow all this, is there is no control on this. No one knows who to address. The interdict could be served on the leaders of the unions and on the Commissioner of Police, by the way, to get the Commissioner of Police to do action. And the police have been alerted, and we are assured that police will be alerted all over the country. And they are in full alert. I know down Ladysmith Way, they are in full alert. The guys along N3 are in full alert all over the place. So we're expecting the worst, and I think expect the worst, because there's no leadership here. The leaders have not absolved themselves. They'd like to know as much as we do, and they don't. So, ladies and gents, it's a rough ride, but if I may just say that I feel this is another incident of, I remember in 2008 when the Department of Transport, Minister of Transport, Minister of Home Affairs, Minister of Police got together behind a table in Durban and said we were addressing the issue. Now, according to these organizations, they have not addressed any of the issues, and therefore the leadership have lost control of their members. And as he said, when you get a hungry lion, they'll start biting. The members are angry. That comes from the two unions that I managed to contact, the one past chairman, one current chairman. And so they're angry. And that means it's dangerous out there. So I would urge all transport companies to take care, to get your trucks off the road, guys. We saw it before. I was on the scene at Mooi River, and when it gets hit, they get hit hard. There were something like 30 trucks burnt that time, if I recall. Okay, and they target anyone, not just foreign drivers. There's people who go a bit loony, And I think that after this, when this is over, the sooner the government takes this as a priority in terms of sorting out what the drivers' gripes are, and yeah, sorting it out so that we don't have to face this again. This is a deja vu of 2018, and it shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't have happened. But the people are angry. The lions are hungry, as Sipho Zungu said. And when the lions are hungry, they will bite. Take your trucks off the road, guys. Be careful. Just it's one day. Stay safe. And everybody knows about it. Let your customers know. Get your trucks off the road. Your drivers are running scared. I've spoken to a couple of drivers. They are scared of being out there. And by the way, the chairman of the, I can never get this right. I asked him, how come we haven't heard? Sankatra. And he said, because we've been trying to go, why we haven't heard of the union or the organization. He said, we've been trying to go the peaceful route for the past 3 years. He said, that's why you haven't heard of us. But it seems that doesn't work. So they've given authorization to the members to join in solidarity, but they haven't organized it. But he says the government is sleeping. That comes from all of them, where the government is sleeping. Government, please, you need to address this. It's the same issues as were 2 years ago, with horrible consequences. So I suggest that this be addressed, and we will help. The industry is here to help. God bless you all. Stay safe. Keep your masks on.